What is going on, guys? This is James with another motovlog video, and I got a pretty good topic for you. This is going to be about old Ironheads. Are they worth it? Are they worth the pain of taking care of and maintenance and all the things that maybe someone that was thinking about buying an Ironhead will want to know? So for me, I bought a 1973 Harley Ironhead, and when I got it, it was terrible. Just, the guy didn't take care of it. The spark plugs were completely fouled out. There was next to no oil in it. I was having electrical problems. The generator was not pumping out nearly enough volts to keep this bike going. So I had to rewire the bike. The signals were bad. Oh man, it was a horrific deal, but I know what I'm doing. I'm a motorcycle mechanic, so, you know, but for the average guy, man, they probably would have gave up the first, you know, 3-4 days. Like, I'm just going to take this to the shop and let them pay, you know, end up paying like, you know, a couple $1,000s to get this guy running right. It took me a while, man, like, seriously, with like ordering parts and getting everything, you know, back to where it was, and all the research time, man, it took me a good weeks. And I know what the hell I'm doing, but honestly, I had to send out for parts and, you know, shit like that, and plus cleaning up the bike, and I had to rewire it. I had to get the blinkers working, and the tail light wasn't working, so there was a lot of things that I put into it maintenance wise. And I'm not saying all Ironheads are going to be like that, but still, you better know that you're going to be putting in time regularly to keep this guy up and running well. So a couple things that I like about the bike. It's got good power, man. It's got a good pick up and go, you know, right out the gate. The torque is good. Shit, a little wet out, or I'd take off quick for you. But it's got torque when you need it. Another nice thing too is you're going to have a ton of power on the freeway, so you're not going to have to worry about, oh no, you know, am I going to be able to get in between, you know, the semi and some Fast and Furious wannabe Honda Civic or whatever. You're going to have more than enough power to get in and do what you need to do. Even at 80 miles per hour, you're still going to have a ton of tug on the engine. But when it comes to maintenance, even on newer Harleys, you're still going to have to do a good amount of maintenance. Harleys are not the type of bike, like, I consider Hondas to be the best bike. And I know it's funny saying that because I own a Harley, but I don't know, everybody just wants to own a Harley eventually, you know, just check it out, see what all the fuss is about, and it's cool, man. You know, it's the vibration, because this is an old school Harley, it doesn't have the engine mounts in it, so it's like old school train, man. It's just chugging along, you feel all the vibrations, everything's just alive in it. It's, you know, old school machine, it's nice. But like I said, it's not like a Honda where you're going to be doing minimal maintenance to it. You're going to have to keep on readjusting the lifters on it, the cam lifters, oh, the valve lifters, whatever the hell they call them. It's funny, I'm a mechanic, but I don't know shit for terms. In the old school Ironheads, they had the points electrical system, which actually this guy got upgraded to the electrical, to the actual, just like the transistors, just basically the newer version. It's not the point system, it's just a little electrical box, and it's a lot easier, a lot more reliable. If I can get over here. But the bike has a lot of good things about it. I don't want to say all bad things about it. It looks awesome. Great aesthetics. The balance to the bike is phenomenal. Especially for being a 1000cc engine. If you get a 1000cc engine in like a Suzuki or a Yamaha or, you know, a Kawasaki, if it's going to be a cruiser, it's going to be fucking heavy as shit. It's going to be like a refrigerator on wheels. And Harleys aren't like that. Just with the V-twin engine, whatever they did, they made the body just really light. Even on the old school bikes, it's very maneuverable. You don't have to worry about whipping around a turn and being like, oh shit, you know, this thing's too heavy. It's light, it's nimble. Don't get me wrong, it's not a sport bike by any means, but it does what it needs to do, and you don't really need to feel like it's overwhelming whatsoever. But like I said, the downsides is the maintenance. You have to tune and tweak a lot of things on this bike. The brakes are decent. They're not great. They're nothing compared to new bikes. You know, new bikes you can stop on a dime. Trying to think of other things that a new Ironhead owner... Oh, every Ironhead leaks, man. It's just how bad does it leak. I usually get about 2, 3, maybe 4 drops a day that I'm leaking out of the Ironhead. So I expect to put oil in every, I don't know, 7, 8 rides, something like that. Nothing major or anything like that. You know, it's not going to wreck your driveway with the amount of oil that it spills. Some Ironheads might, but not mine. Basically because I took care of most of the oil leaks. Another thing about this bike is it has a chain oiler. So if that is not adjusted properly, you will get a ton of oil squirting out onto your chain, and your chain will just flip it onto everything. So it's a good idea to just, when you get your new Ironhead, check everything, the chain, the sprockets, check the battery, check the electrical system, check the turn signals, brake signals, check the compression for sure, because you never know how bad these bikes are. Some of these bikes people just left out in the rain, and you don't know if it's going to be rusted out or what the hell's going on, especially with a guy that doesn't know what the hell he's doing and tries to, you know, just rig shit up, and you're kind of just the guy that's the experimental, you know, bunny that's like, what the hell's going on here? You're gonna hop on a bike that might not even be safe. So check everything out, you know, check your brake fluid, check to make sure everything's working properly before you actually get out on the bike, because most people won't tell you. Most people will lie to you, especially people on Craigslist. They just don't care. And with a bike being, you know, 35, 40 years old, even some mechanics, you know, some things will float right by them, and you just won't know what's going on. But gas mileage really isn't that good, only on my bike, because basically I jetted it to be a lot more powerful, which it has power. It gets up and goes. And compared to other bikes, I actually checked out the new Ironhead, and I was thinking like, hey, maybe this guy will be like way more reliable. But off the shelf I saw Ironhead 883, new one, leaking right on the showroom floor. And I'm like, son of a bitch, really? You know, you'd think they would fix the oil leaks after a while. I know the engines on Harleys have a ton of pressure behind them, and I don't get why they can't fix that. I think that's a ridiculous problem that shouldn't even be happening. But that's Harley. Harley's more about show. The performance is pretty decent, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad bike. It's just, don't expect that you're going to be paying extra money for a Harley and not have to do maintenance. Every bike you're going to have to do maintenance on. Honestly, Harleys more so too. They break down so quick. And honestly, I'm the type of guy that only takes care of bikes for, well, I always take care of bikes, but I'm the type of guy that I like different bikes, so I switch, you know, most of my bikes out. The last like 2 years I had like eight or nine bikes, so I usually just ride them for a while, you know, fix them up real nice, make a small little profit, and I enjoy the different, you know, types of bikes. But when it comes down to it, the average guy, they're probably not going to want to keep on spending money, you know, on a Harley that needs a bunch of maintenance. You're seriously going to have to be adjusting things all of the time. And it just depends on if, you know, you're willing to do that. If you're willing to do that, you know, the bike will run fine, you know. Parts are, I have to say, are a little bit more expensive for Harley, for sure. Harley Ironhead parts, like I said, it took me a couple weeks just to find, you know, some parts that I was looking for. One of the foot pegs was kind of off kilter, was a little bent to the side. I don't know if the guy dropped the bike or whatnot, but you know, I ended up getting an aftermarket one because I couldn't find any OEM original stuff that was going on. But when it comes down to original parts, it might take you weeks to actually find old Ironhead parts. You can buy them, I want to say like the new versions of them, but you're going to pay up the ass for that. And I'm not rich, so I'm not willing to pay all that money just to say I have an OEM part. Granted, on a lot of the electronics, I want to go OEM because that's the way the bike was meant to work on. You know, you're going to get aftermarket parts that will come from some Chinese factory, and it may or may not work. So I always say go OEM on everything that you buy electronically. Everything else, really not that big of a deal. It's just going to be aesthetics. But I like the bike, it's fun. It's got a nice growl to it. I got drag pipes on here, so that was a son of a bitch trying to jet the carbs for that. But and everybody says you can't jet carbs that have drag pipes on it, but I did, and this bike is a beast. So don't be detoured. Even that, I know there's like a S&S video out there, and this guy's like, oh, the only way to fix S&S drag pipes is to throw them in the garbage. That dude's a fucking idiot. Why would you do that? Ironheads, they can run really well with drag pipes. Dude's just being a dick, and he doesn't want to fuck around with them. That's the thing, is you got to put in your time. You got to figure out what jets actually work for your bike. And you got to figure out what altitude your bike is at and rejet accordingly as well. If you're going, you know, into the mountains every other weekend, don't expect them jets to work perfectly. You're gonna have to readjust, do what you can to get your bike where it needs to be, and it's not gonna be an easy task whatsoever. But if you're willing to put in the time, they're worth it. You know, I have a really good time on this bike. I always get a ton of compliments from people that are like, oh man, I love that old Harley look, you know, I love that growl, the sound of those are amazing, and it looks just beautiful. It's a beautiful bike. But like I said, it's the upkeep. That's the downfall of these bikes. But I think my next bike is going to be maybe a Ducati or some Italian bike. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I definitely want to check out some more bikes, you know. I had the vintage Harley, kind of got that out of my system, and now I'm ready for something new. I like to jump back and forth from sport bike to cruiser. Sport bikes and cruisers are two different worlds. Sport bikes are super agile, super nimble. Taking corners are just so much better on a sport bike. And the power is amazing on sport bikes. They usually have lighter frames. You can whip them around easier. Cruisers are nice because you can lean back and drive all day. On a sport bike, after about an hour, your back starts to hurt. On a cruiser, not so much. Yeah, you'll get tired eventually, but if you want to go on a long cruise, go to Sturgis, go, you know, up and down the East Coast, up and down the West Coast, go through the mountains, you want to definitely have a cruiser. You're just gonna, it's gonna be more enjoyable. Well, if I have any other things that maybe I missed, that maybe you guys wanted to ask a question about, leave me a comment, subscribe, like, don't like, I don't care, do whatever the fuck you feel like. But if you guys maybe need a hand with something, let me know, and I can probably help you out, give you maybe a tip, a pointer. Maybe I can't give you the exact answer for your bike, but at least I can probably get you in the right direction. So this is me, guys, signing off. If you guys need anything, let me know. Peace out.